All right, everybody, welcome back to Talk to Me Like You Love Me. That is a royalty-free intro that we found. Anyway, so good morning.
Good morning.
It is Sunday. It is a 3-day weekend, and all is well. Subject matter today. I'm not usually a country fan, but I'm doing this whole new radio thing, and I came across a line. Why do you pause there?
New radio thing, like meaning you now on the radio listen to country music, and that's new?
No. I'm doing a new way to stream music, and so it's still learning my preferences.
Got it. So you're getting some country.
I'm more interested in what your hesitation was when I said country.
Well, I personally know you are not the biggest fan of country music.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting topic.
That's okay. A lot of our fans out there do like country.
Country music is great. Love it.
So what do you think we're going to talk about today?
Sounds like we're talking about country music.
Okay, we're not. We're going to talk about something I heard. So I do want to give a shout out to our very first subscribers.
Oh, yes. We call them the twins.
Call them the twins. They don't look anything alike.
I don't even know if they know we call them the twins.
Well, now they do.
Now they do.
So introduce them to I guess themselves, since they're our only audience. Aisha and Brendan.
Yes, your coworker. Actually,
both coworkers.
Both. Yeah.
I gave him a letter of recommendation, and he moved on to a different job, which is good for him. But at the same time, we do miss his humor. Anyway, this one is dedicated to you guys, since you are the only ones actually listening. Other than I know Christine tends to listen to them all the time, over and over and over and over again.
I've never heard one of them back.
It's probably better. Okay, so today's topic is stemmed from my 5:30 morning drive, listening to this random country song, and it goes like this. I'm kind of reading the lyrics here to see where I want to start. I'll just do it. It says,
I feel like I know what it is.
Okay, go.
I don't know why, like a Morgan Wallen song is coming to mind.
Well, it's very popular.
Is it the Liquor Talk one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. What else am I thinking?
I don't know. That was weird though.
What number am I thinking?
Maybe because that song like just comes on everywhere, and that's why I knew.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Does. It's pretty popular.
Anyway, but it is a great conversation because it says, last night we let the liquor talk. I can't remember everything we said, but we said it all. You told me that you wish I was somebody you never met, but baby, something's telling me this ain't over yet. So what I'm interested in there is talking about why people say stuff that they don't mean.
Well, I think on some level when you are drinking, the things that you do say are maybe not completely true, but you've thought about them or have been frustrated with them at some point. Okay.
Yeah, this could be a heavy conversation today, which I would like to say, let's not bring up any of our own personal examples of obliteration.
And also, we haven't been drinking, so
we haven't, but we could.
Drinking.
We could. No. We find our relationship is better when we don't drink, mainly because we are happy people and we don't have anxiety and we sleep better. Anyway, This isn't a promo for non-alcoholic lives. But I would recommend trying it for 17 years and seeing what happens at the end of it.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, when conversations happen, what causes the brain to want to be nasty, mean, to purposely push people away by saying things that are hurtful? The first thing I thought of, if we're so tired and we're so exhausted and we truly just need some downtime, what's the best way to get someone away from you?
Push them away.
You push them away.
Whether physically or with your words.
And typically, you know the person, you've had conversations with them, you understand what makes them tick, and you know exactly how to launch them.
Yes, true. And I don't know, in my experience, I tend to be nastier, for lack of a better word, to people that I'm closest with, or the people that you're just around all the time.
Yay, me!
I mean, you wouldn't go light up a stranger, but like, somebody that you've shared a lot of experience.
It happens at work all the time.
I mean, I would never do that.
So here's another thought. I mean, at work, I do work with patients who are truly, truly sick, and sometimes they're in that anger stage of grief and denial and bargaining and all those things. And they're mad at their cancer. They're not mad at me, but they sure take it out on us. They do pointing of fingers, and they say, "You don't know how it is. I'm gonna call a lawyer." And they get mad. And I remember I talked to a therapist years ago, and he says people do that because misery makes company, but miserable people make other people miserable. It's almost like if you take the pain, I don't have to.
Right.
And the other analogy is a cup. If you fill it full of water, the water spills over. And I've always said if someone's angry, it's because they're really afraid. And if you look at like a Wolverine that you back into a corner, it's going to fight you out, right?
Right.
So
yeah, I think the fear thing in my experience with my job, I work with money, and when people don't have the money, those are the ones that tend to be angry at me. And it's because they're scared. They're broke. They can't pay bills, whatever their situation is. Those are the ones that tend to light me up the most.
So, I mean, obviously, this is a show about talking to each other like you love me. And I'll be honest, I know when we have our high energy fights, those stick with me for a couple weeks, if not longer, if not permanently.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what a nice fresh relationship is so pure, is it's not tainted, it's not full of pain, it's not full of challenges and difficulty.
You don't want them to see you're crazy yet.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely keeping those things at bay.
But at some point, that it'll come out.
Well, I guess the question I have is, when is too much? If a couple just lets each other have it in the nastiest ways, there's going to be a point where things break.
Yeah, and I agree with you. There are things that have just stuck, like maybe not in our relationship, but in past relationships, like words that have said.
It's okay, we're human.
Still haunt me. No, but like really from
Right.
just like when I was younger, just words, like certain things that are a trigger for me in general. It's nasty and it ruins you. It kind of makes you feel insecure and ruins your self-esteem a little bit.
So yeah, and I know that love and hate come from the same part of the brain. And they say if you don't have arguments, you don't have intensity. That means you don't have that intense love. Now, some people debate and argue, but we only have 2 listeners, so it's okay.
I'll take the risk. Those 2 argue. I mean, they're pretty young.
I don't think that's any of our business. So stay in your lane. Yeah, we can't openly talk about them while they're listening to it. We'll do that off air. So I guess I know it's good to have arguments because in the end, you tend to value each other more when you realize, wow, we could actually be over. So I know you and I, when we have an argument, it's usually not even us. It's like the kids or something going on with forces outside of us. We tend to have little frustration battles, and then we read into it. We look at it. We look at information from like psychology.com or whatever book we have, and we come back together, usually apologetic, understanding where we've gone wrong, understanding that the situation is too big for us, and trying to keep things I guess more from a frame of love.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, no matter how frustrated and angry we are, we know we still want to be together. We still love each other, want to put that effort in, even though maybe the situation is just really hard and we're struggling a little bit. That's what you got to remember. You just love each other.
I do think it's also good to hold back. I mean, I don't think unloading every single frustration that you can imagine, I don't think that's healthy.
Well, I think sometimes things are just thrown out there in an effort to hurt the other person. Maybe they said something and now you're trying to get them back, and it's a little bit of a tick for tat versus trying to make any progress in resolving the situation.
Okay. And you know me, I've always said that the current argument has nothing to do with reality. It's usually just a reason to vent and blow steam. But as I've gotten older and I tend to need more peace, I've kind of asked, can we just sit and talk about the real issue? And I don't know if I'm just too old or not interested in getting all flared up, or I'm just tired.
No, you've always been a talker. When we first met, I used to say, my gosh, you talk everything to death.
Right.
You just would rather talk about it, resolve it, versus brush it under the rug, which I think a lot of people would rather just push it aside and avoid it.
Yeah, I
And
don't
you've
know.
never been one to
I just
avoid a
can't.
hard
I just can't
subject.
ignore it. That kind of stuff, it stings. I want to know.
Yeah.
You know, is it true? Do I need to work on it, or is it something that is just being mean? Like, see, my patients, if they light me up, I get it. I don't take it personal. I understand, but it's taken me years to get to that point where I understand, you know, where they're coming from.
But
you
if
know.
it's coming from someone that loves you,
Right,
it's different. Like, have you thought about this? Did
it
you
is
barely
different.
say it now?
Yeah, because I'm the kind of person, I will work on myself first. If you say, you know, you're too tall, I will figure out why. I'm like, well, maybe my nutrient level was too high. You know, maybe, you know, whatever it
It's the
is.
platform shoes.
It is. Well, I have my Uggs that, you know, I couldn't find your size, but I found mine. Just kidding. I don't have Uggs. But yeah, I think it really matters, and I think a lot of times things that bother us can be an insight into our own lives, our own inner lives. For example, if I come up to you and say, Christina, I do not like your blue hair, does that bother you?
I don't have blue hair.
Does it bother you?
No.
No. But if I say something a little more vague, you might be offended by it because it's something you own versus blue hair. So oftentimes I feel like in arguments, people can use a shotgun technique, anything to, you know, throw the other person off, to get them off track, to, you know, not have to take blame or be responsible. So I say this, sometimes if things are said and it bothers you, that might trigger or might invite a little inside work to figure out maybe why it's bothering you.
True.
You know, because if someone on the street says something, you're dumb. I'm like, bro, I just passed this test and this test and this test. I went to this school. Sorry, you can't touch me.
Right.
So maybe in that sense, arguments can be beneficial because it teaches you, you know, where you're weak and where you're lacking.
But why wait to the argument to like bring it up?
Okay, let's try this. Later today, we'll go out to lunch and I'll bring out a really difficult subject that you have spent your whole life trying to avoid.
There's something you want to tell me about being difficult?
Well, my point is, who wants to ever address that?
Yeah.
Whoever wants to deal with it. And besides, who am I to tell you, you know, what you need to work on?
Well, you have to live with me if it's a problem.
Hey, that's not my. I'm not going to go dig up that shark. No, we all have our own responsibility to, you know, dig in the problems that we see in ourselves and things that we can change.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would trust you if you said, well, you need to do this. You did. I'm like, I don't know if that would actually be accurate.
Well, it depends on what I said.
It might be you're just trying to hurt me, and I'm not going to take it as personal. And
which definitely happens in arguments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all been there where we said something and then we make up after the argument, and you're retracting what you said. I didn't mean it. I was just mad. You know, that whole.
But
narrative.
yeah, what if there really is deep-seated hatred to the person, and it comes out through anger?
Why are you with them?
Well, I don't want to be so cut or dry. I want to be more like, well, could you discuss these things throughout? You know, have like those deep conversations in the park. You know, starting out with, well, I feel like I need to work on this. And then if the person is interested, they'll bite as well. And then you can kind of openly, and that I think is where love and vulnerability come in. Is we all start out with pretty jacked up cards, and if you can learn to use them, then you can actually make some progress. And I feel relationships a mirror. You know, you see things about me that I don't, and I think that's a good thing, and vice versa. You know, that whole thing I've said probably 1,000 times, you take two swords or two chunks of metal and you bang them against each other, you're going to get sparks, you're going to have some metal fly off. Eventually, iron sharpens iron and becomes two beautiful, sharp swords. Better for battle.
Yeah.
So what about like basic rules for arguments? I mean, I know that we try to at least start out without using the word you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you make me mad. You cause me. I usually say I feel angry when these words are used. That way there's no direct attack. And I think that
Right.
does take a little bit of the sting out of things.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so we watched the movie Bob Marley the other day, and I thought it was really good. What is one of the songs that I gave you early on in our beginning relationship?
The Love is My Religion song.
Right. Love is My Religion by Ziggy Marley. And the reason I did that, I wanted you to know who I was and where I came from, and that I mean, even still to this day, I take the high road, even if it means I get hurt or I get a hit,
Mm-hmm.
because love is truly my religion. Just like Bob Marley, he gives and gives and gives, even if he's being taken advantage of, or if he's having a difficult time, he's the one
Right.
that sacrifices himself. What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely think you live by those standards. And, from my end, sometimes that can be frustrating, but I get it. Within you, that's just what you believe in and how you're going to be. And nobody's going to sway you from that.
Yeah, I've never been swayed for money. I've never been swayed by material things, but I have wanted to dedicate my life to being kind to others, to helping them. I guess making everyone's journeys a little bit less difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, even this podcast isn't really for us. It doesn't make any money. We spend 45 minutes every Sunday putting out a little bit of chitty chat. Why? So we can help other people understand what love is and how to do it, because some people just don't get it. I don't think some people come from that mental place.
Or they don't have a good example. If you're not raised around a good example or have that in your life, it's hard to navigate. When you get into a relationship, you're like, I have no reference. I don't know how to deal with this.
Right. Which I can say I definitely haven't had that example
Yes,
either.
but you are a researcher and a reader, and you've learned and listened,
Right.
and you kind of put it together, which is great because now you're a good example for the kids. It's helped our relationship. I don't know, whoever else you talk to about it.
Well, I think the best way to understand what love is in general is do activities that make you feel loved.
Yeah.
I know for you, if you watch a romance movie, you feel that excitement, or if you listen to a good piece of music, you feel that warmth. Even at the show the other night, we saw someone sing opera, and that just like made the whole house have chills, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good.
So I think most of my life I've been trying to find those moments of love, whether it be in nature, um, you can call it connection to something bigger, some kind of sensation in the body, so like a calmness, a relaxation. Even walking through the redwoods, which were deeply intoxicating. I think most people in the world say that redwoods are the most magical place, and they truly are. It's
Yeah.
it's a phenomenal area. So yeah, I think if you're not sure how to do it, by example, follow the things that make you feel warm and caring and loving, and I think that is when you're doing it right.
And you can seek those things out. They're available to everybody. You just got to figure out what works for you.
Right. And I don't think you're going to find it in your car
So let's go back to the
or
song.
or shopping or
Well,
McDonald's
it depends on
drive-through.
where you're shopping.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go back to the song. It said, the second line was like, well, I know we've said a lot. I don't remember the song,
Well,
but
let's see
it's not
here.
over yet, or something like that. How do you know it's not over yet?
I don't know.
I mean, we've all been so mad that we just want to like walk away because it would be easier. You don't
And
want to
we
feel this
have.
bad anymore. You just want to get
Hmm.
away from it. But that feeling is just temporary, which
Yeah,
is hard to remember when you're so in it.
I think it's over when one of you quits. I mean, honestly, it's easy. It's easy to quit. Nowadays, everyone makes enough income to do their own thing. Everyone has a support group that they can lean on. There's what, 80 million people just in California alone. The likelihood of meeting someone new is very high. It'll probably be temporary. You got a couple years where things feel good,
But in
and
the song,
then
he said he knows it's not over yet. How does he know?
well, I don't know. I don't know him. What does he say?
I mean, for anybody, have you ever like walked away and you're just mad, but then you're like, oh wait, I don't actually want this to be over.
For me, in the relationships I've had, the person had usually ended it by quitting, like not trying
Mm.
anymore.
Yeah, there's a point where you have to like calm down, come back.
Yeah, if the person's no longer there, or they're hanging on their family or their friends for the support and no longer me, well, there's nothing I can really do. Just kind of walk away and start your own life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You're looking at the lyrics. I don't know. Why don't you answer that? It sounds like it's intriguing to you.
Well, I think I've been in a situation where I came from a family that avoided feelings. So for me, when things get too intense, I'm like, let me just get away from this. Like, you go
Mm,
away, I need to leave. I don't want to
mm-hmm.
deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But then after, like, pretty much immediately, I'll walk away. I'll be like, dang it, I didn't actually want to leave. I just didn't want to argue anymore. I didn't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it anymore, or whatever the situation was.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the feeling when you're like, you've said it all, but you know it's not over yet.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're like strong and you want to stand your ground. You don't want to come back in and apologize just yet, because typically when we're arguing, whoever, you feel like you're right in whatever you're arguing about.
Well, I will challenge all that all day long. I'm telling you, it's not about I am right. It's about we as a
Oh,
team.
but I think when you're arguing, you lose sight of all of that.
Oh, we might actually get a first. What's it called when you're really close to the situation?
Firsthand experience?
You're going to get a first-hand argument right now. We'll see how it goes. But we've always fought a different technique, a different style. I tend to
Yeah.
be a little more seeking peace at all costs.
Well, that's guys. I think guys just want peace.
Yes, I agree. I also feel that the relationship is a lot like an egg. If you drop it once, it cracks. If you wrinkle
Yeah.
paper and try to smooth it out, you'll never get that back. And I've
Right.
always felt our relationship is almost sacred, and I think keeping it sacred is a good thing. I mean, you wouldn't walk into the middle of a room and have a cat pee all over the room and expect it to be clean anymore. Once it's dirty, it's
Right. You
dirty.
like know it's there.
Right. And same thing, I've had friends who go through difficulty with their relationships, and I try to tell them you'll never get it back to the way it was because it's been tarnished. Once you ruin a relationship, it's over. You can't take the words back. And even though they say sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me, I
They don't say that
totally
anymore.
disagree.
Yeah. That's
I totally disagree. I think words can be very nasty.
yeah.
So anyway, I knew this was going to be a difficult one, just because we're not laughing and being silly, but I feel like it is a very, very core part of relationship, and why we have the podcast of Talk to Me Like You Love Me. Just imagine you don't see that person ever again. Okay, now you calm down back there listening to this. You just stood up and started clapping. Okay, we don't want that. If it's truly that situation, your relationship has been over for a while.
Right. If you can't see yourself in 30, 40, 50 years with that person, if you don't see the long-term life or excited about it, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe look for that person that you do want to grow
Right.
old with.
Maybe it just wasn't a match, and that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have always had that feeling of flow, of perfect connection. We've both been in relationships where it wasn't there. We tried to make it work, and it never really clicked.
Yeah, when you feel that click, that's something to hang on to.
Mm-hmm.
It is rare. You don't get that with everybody.
And I think that's the chemistry.
And one thing, last night we were watching a movie where the couple grew old and the wife died, and
Mm-hmm.
it made me so happy and sad at the same time, because I thought, oh my gosh, you and I are going to be old together one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just know that's our future, that's our life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad to be either the one that's leaving the other person behind,
Mm-hmm.
and then just to not have any more time together. I'm like, wow, one day it's going to end, and that's so sad.
And I can help you with this, since I'm 10 years older, and men typically die sooner.
And I felt bad in the movie.
Probably
I
have
was
to.
like, oh, he's alone, he's without her, but
Probably have to start
Like
coping with
statistically,
that.
like I don't want to be without you. How's that? I don't want to spend any
Right.
days or years of my life without you. And I think
Oh.
having that perspective, no matter how upset I am at
Mm-hmm.
whatever, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be old with
Yeah.
you for as long as we can.
Oh. Well, that's why you have these podcasts. You can go back and listen to them. And just like the movie P.S. I Love You, I'll have all kinds of escape rooms and stuff for you to
No.
get through, and scavenger hunts and videos. And, you know, maybe to get to the will information, you have to go through a 30-step escape room where you have to actually pick the locks yourself with the lock picking kit. And, you know, you have to translate
Right.
in Farsi.
So I'll be completely broke until I can get through this puzzle. Awesome.
Well, keep you busy. You won't feel lonely. But yeah, you know, I think sometimes when we have those arguments, I physically say out loud, just imagine what would it be like not seeing me again.
Yeah.
How would it feel starting over?
Yeah, this whatever little argument is not worth
Mm-mm.
all the years we've spent together and all the years we have ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, I don't know, nothing is worth it. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We've never been that upset about something that we couldn't work through it.
Right.
And like you said earlier, honestly, all of our problems have been other people,
Mm-hmm.
outside sources,
True.
situations that are out of our control.
Right. Work
and
situations, departments closing.
kids
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. One thing for all of you out there who are listening, and this, I guess this is for you too. One thing that people don't think about, you know, if they ever have a challenging time, they go, you know what, I'm having a difficult time. I'm frustrated. I want to get away from this. It'd be easier because I know it. Well, one thing about, you know, ending a relationship is it's really not just the relationship. It's now your lifestyle too.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a situation where I had to move out of a home that I had established and built. Not only do you have to change your checking account and move out and find a place, you have to buy all new things. You have to change your phone. Here, just an example. Go down today, change your phone, get a brand, you know, a different one, different number. Go change your bank. I don't know what else.
You know, I
can be
think
done?
for me, like when I got divorced and I lived by myself for like 2 years, it was at first I was like, okay, this is awesome. I get to get new stuff. I have my own place.
Mm-hmm.
But then
You realize you have to pay for it.
not even just the money aspect, it was lonely.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just hang out with your friends all the time. You
Right.
don't always have something to do. And just sitting there in the quiet, even though the person I was with, I was glad to be out of the relationship aspect of it. I missed having somebody there all the
Mm-hmm.
time. I missed, even if we weren't talking or interacting,
Right.
having somebody around, somebody to call, somebody to
Right.
just run something by, watch a show with. Like it gets really
Yeah.
quiet, really lonely day after day
Yeah.
after day.
Yeah, my biggest thing was laying there in bed like at 2 a.m, all by myself, without my kids around, without a family, just thinking, wow, I failed. I'm no longer even in a family element. I am just out here.
Yeah, it was
I'm
hard.
just in the middle. Yeah, it can be really difficult. I think.
And yes, having to pay for everything by myself, that really sucked.
Right.
I had to like stop getting my hair done. It was rough.
Right. And I don't think people who have been in a long-term relationship realize that the switch is difficult. And even in a bad relationship, you still grieve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, I took a leap of faith believing that I could have a relationship that was better. And luckily, years later, I found that deep, open, vulnerable relationship that I was looking and longing for. I can't say it's going to be there for everybody. I mean, you really have to know yourself. I did years of therapy, years of book reading. I truly knew myself and I knew what I wanted and who I was.
On that note, too, like, say we were single all over again in today's day and age, how freaking scary. Like, you and I kind of knew each other. We had worked together.
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
I like trusted who you were in a background way,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd be dating like online. Oh my gosh. I hear horror stories.
I have no experience, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's like, but I've just heard horror stories from people that I know that are single. You can't trust what people are saying, what they're out for.
Right.
Nobody
Well,
wants
a lot of
commitment.
people who are on those are avoidant. personalities.
Yeah.
You know, they have a attachment that's an avoidant, so they never ever want to be in a relationship, but they know how to play the game and say what they say. In fact, one lady I heard the other day that she had not bought groceries for 1 year because she was going out on dates all the time and having men pay for them. Man, that's
So it's just an
episode 462.
so it's just like an
But come
income
on.
for her.
Right.
That is just crazy. Yeah.
So how do you know people are even playing fair? And I don't think you know. And really, I think a lot of the good ones get snatched up pretty quick.
Right.
And then I hate to say it, you've got the leftovers out there. You know, maybe there's some baggage that wasn't dealt with, or some therapy that was never done. I do know it gets harder the older you get, but you know, really ask yourselves as you move forward. And this again, this whole conversation is general. We're not talking to our only subscribers, so just take a deep breath and stop looking at each other with eyes rolling. But you know, it's love is fragile, and again, if you kill it, it will die. You can kill anything, but you know, like treat it like a plant in the backyard. If you don't water it, you put it under a bucket so there's no air, there's no light, it'll die. But if you take care of it, you know, like in our Valentine's podcast, you know, do the time, put the effort in, and keep each other growing. I say this before anyone tries to end a relationship: go all out. Give it your best shot. Do what you can. Learn what you can learn about yourself. If anything, make yourself ready for the next person by doing everything you can in the current situation, because you will change views with a very similar person.
Right.
Even in that movie last night, she says, "Oh, you know, now that we've broken up, I'm still attracting the same people."
Right.
That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard
she
that.
has a type.
I've heard that before.
And maybe it's, even if it's a type that's bad for you, it's a comfort. There's something familiar there.
Well, I would even say it's unconscious. You know, maybe something you got from your parents, something that you're used to, that kind of sound. You know, if you have a washing machine that's very loud, and then you go to your neighbor's house and it's very quiet, you're going to wonder what's wrong with your washing machine. But you think it's normal.
Right. You know,
I come from a quiet washing machine. My parents never argue.
Yeah, I know. I've never seen my parents argue either. It's so weird.
Interesting. Where do you get it from?
I don't know, because they needed to have some passion.
Okay.
You and I have passion.
But I don't argue. I don't get intense, I guess.
Yeah. I have too quiet of a household.
Okay. Well, let's get some electric guitars and some drums.
Well, I don't like that kind of thing. I like when I'm making the noise.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll get some earplugs. It'll be fine. Anyway, but yes, please have some fun. This is the person you choose to enjoy on this path of life. They may not always be around.
And on that note, just because you're with someone doesn't mean you have to be with them forever. Like, even on a good day, really look at each other and be like, do I want to spend the next, 40, 50 years with this person?
Apparently she does this analysis every day.
You're not obligated. I know that if I didn't see you, I would genuinely miss you. I enjoy our time in our life and want to be around you. I look forward to seeing you. I'm excited when I open the garage and your car's there. I'm like, yay, he's home,
Right.
I came home twice yesterday and your car was gone. I'm like,
yeah,
where'd you go?
I was getting wood.
I know, but it's
out
just,
on projects.
Like, look at those little things. Are you excited to come home to the person?
What are your thoughts on people, getting separated? I've always thought that was kind of a half-ass way of committing. Either you're in or you're out. Do you think separation is healthy for people? Do you think they could discover, oh, I miss this person?
I think on some level, if you separate in a good or bad relationship, you're going to still miss the person if you're used to being with them all the time. Like we mentioned earlier, even a bad relationship, you grieve,
right? Because
you lose some of that comfort, familiarity.
It's like losing a wallet.
Yeah.
And it's something simple. You know it's not there.
I think if you're going to break up when you're calm and really thinking about it. Don't break up when you're arguing and pissed.
Okay, let's just pause right there.
If you are in a place where you're like, you know what, this isn't healthy, this isn't good.
Anybody, well, you know what, you do see it in movies. I know movies aren't a good reference, but I've never been in a relationship that ended peaceful.
Maybe not peaceful.
Someone was always upset.
When you're
mostly me.
I guess if you're upset all the time, then you really shouldn't be together. But who am I to say?
Well, it's true. I mean, they say you have to kiss a bunch of frogs to find the right one.
And also, just because you have bad times and arguments doesn't mean the relationship's bad. What do they say? 5 good days to 1 bad or something. As long as you have
Right.
more good days and more fun.
Right.
Honestly, I think some of the reason our relationship works is because we're best friends.
Right.
We just hang out. We just have a good time.
We have a lot in common.
We just want to go,
Right.
Explore something and try something new.
Right.
That it doesn't mean we're like always romantic and always loving each other.
Yeah, we are.
But no, like we're just a lot of the time hanging
we're comfortable.
out. We're just talking and goofing and laughing.
Right.
And
like, for example, with Valentine's Day, we got dressed up, went out to dinner, and we both kind of looked at each other at the end. We're like, can we please just go home and change clothes?
Yeah.
So we did. We went home, changed clothes, then we went out and got ice cream.
Yeah.
I think comfortable is a nice way to describe it. I also believe your core beliefs have to be in line.
Yeah.
You want to have the same aspects of religion, of politics, of, children. If you have children, how to raise them, how to handle money. The more you have in common, the easier it will be. You don't want to be identical. For example, I like horror movies. She likes romance. She takes me to Michael Bublé. I take her to Joe Coy and Pearl Jam. We have different interests, and I think that's important. I remember I went on a trip once, a long time ago, and I got 2 copies of the same book. And everybody read that same book. And then when we were there on the trip, we had nothing to share because everyone already read it. So it's important to, now I make sure I get a different book than you get, because then I've got something to offer. You've got something to offer that I've never heard before. And that's a great thing. So you don't want to be too similar, but you don't want to be going to a different country.
Right. You want to go on the same trip.
Hopefully that means, hopefully you understand what it means. It's a metaphor for be headed in the right direction, but you don't have to be exactly the same.
Yeah, you don't have to be taking exactly the same steps, but as long as you're all going north, you're fine.
Wait a minute, I thought we were going south for the winter.
Don't you like the redwoods?
I do. Which we need to go up there.
I know.
It's really not that far away.
It's been a couple of years. I was looking at old pictures. It's been longer than I thought.
Yeah. So anyway, I love it up there. I mean, in my darkest times, that was the one place that let me breathe. So
yeah, it's just peaceful.
Maybe we should bounce up there, check it out.
Not that far.
What are you doing right now? We could be up there by 4.
I do have tomorrow off.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Anyway, we're gonna head to the redwoods. We'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoy these podcasts. We do it for you. This is episode 2. You're gonna get your music ready, and we're gonna do an outro. We're new at this whole thing, and we don't really care about following the template. This is just for you guys. Hopefully it helps. If you don't listen, don't tell us. We don't care. It's good for our own relationship.
No feedback necessary.
No feedback. But I will say this. It would be kind of nice to actually have some direct questions and comments of things that you want. So just comment below, subscribe, and like. I'm kidding. Don't do any of that crap.
Do you subscribe and like to podcast?
I don't know. I don't think you can. It's just it's something I just send through AirDrop. But seriously, I am interested in questions. If you have, Brendan, if you have a particular question you want to know, ask me, and Christine and I will go through it in the next episode. And Aisha, if you have a question that you want to know, let us see if we have the answer. Again, we are not educated. We do not have a master's or a PhD in psychology or family counseling or any of this behavioral stuff.
We'll just be some answer based on experience.
Right. Well, Wikipedia it real quick and come up with something. But I think in the end, when you've been married, divorced, blended families, moved out, empty nest, I don't know. I kind of think we've done the whole book.
We have not gotten old yet.
I'm working on it.
I know. Slow down.
Sorry. Any more wood projects? I'm totally feeling more.
He has 100% become an old man. He's like whittling wood in the garage.
I am just retired and done. I'm like cake that's overly cooked. Just take me out of the oven. I'm burnt out.
Okay, ready for our outro?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, everybody. So remember, talk to you like me, you love me, and we will talk to you like we love you. Okay, I guess we're done. Can we do a little more intro just for fun? There you go. But no singing, please. But, oh, I love that dance. Let's do that together. Okay, that's good. All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye.